Hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you're doing really well. Today I'm going to be discussing 10 things that we all wish you knew about wheelchairs. On this channel I have loads of videos about wheelchairs. I've done a lot of videos about things we wish people knew about people who use wheelchairs, but I've never done a video about the actual wheelchairs themselves. And I think that this video really needs to be made because there are so many people out there who just don't realise things that we face using a wheelchair. So please remember this video is about the wheelchairs, not the people who use them. Thank you so much to everybody who helped me with this video over on the community tab. So let's just get into it. I'm going to be discussing 10 things we wish you knew about wheelchairs. Okay, so the first one that I often find people are really shocked by is how expensive wheelchairs are. And they don't realise that it costs the same as a car. Yes, our wheelchairs cost the same as a car, and a pretty decent car at that. Just to get, you know, a regular sort of run-of-the-mill chair that someone would use every day is well over £1,000. And kind of rolling into that theme, I want to talk about the second one, which is the NHS. People say to me,
oh yeah, it was that much, but yeah, the NHS would pay.
No, it's not always the case. The NHS have very, very strict criteria. A lot of people go without a wheelchair who probably should have one, and a lot of people end up with the wrong type of wheelchair because their criteria is so strict. Briefly, the way that the NHS works is they will provide you a chair based on your needs, and if you turn around and say, no, I'm sorry, that chair doesn't quite suit my needs, they will give you that equivalent chair in a voucher form.
Some of these factors do vary depending upon where you live in the country.
So let's say that person A, based on their needs, they would get a wheelchair worth £300. They say, no, that wheelchair won't be adequate for me. The NHS will give them a £300 voucher towards a chair that they can buy privately. Or if we've got person B who has a disability and they say, right, we'll offer you this chair is worth £1,000, but they say, oh no, I'm sorry, that chair is not quite suitable for my needs, they will give you a voucher worth £1,000 to use against a chair that you can buy privately. Now, I know £300, £1,000, that sounds like a lot, but wheelchairs that are sort of good, active wheelchairs start at around £2,000. So it is very expensive, as I've just said. A lot of the time with the NHS there is a long waiting period, and a lot of people do, as I say, go without wheelchairs and then have to fund their wheelchairs themselves. Also running with the theme of being expensive, if you are to buy a wheelchair privately, like myself, then you are responsible for the upkeep and the maintenance of the wheelchair. Another thing to point out is the wheelchair voucher scheme you can apply for every 3 to 5 years, but if you're forking out £6,000 for a wheelchair, you're not going to be wanting to do that every 3 to 5 years. So yeah, that's why quite a lot of active wheelchair users will be using their wheelchairs to their dying death. Not the person, the wheelchair. The wheelchair will be on its last legs, as you will, before you get another one. Okay, another thing is that all wheelchairs are different. Even if you saw me in a standard sort of issued Da Vinci wheelchair, and then the same person in exactly the same wheelchair, it will be completely different because the wheelbase will have been adjusted differently, the cushions could be different, the backrest could be different. They are all completely different. Someone over on the community said they are like crowns to teeth, not clothing, which is so true. Another thing, don't touch. Never touch someone's wheelchair. You don't touch someone you don't know. Don't touch the wheelchair. It's an extension of our body, our personal space. Also, as I've spoken about previously, they cost thousands of pounds. So by touching the wheelchair or moving the wheelchair, you may cause a lot of damage. So don't touch unless you ask first. Wheelchairs can't do emergency stops. Don't just jump out in front of us. Maybe just talk to us and say, excuse me, can I just go in front? You will get your ankles bashed. And also, we can't see what's going on behind either. So if you're standing behind us and we're going to do a quick 360, watch out, because we don't know you're there. We don't have rear view mirrors. Oh, this is quite an annoying one. We never fit under tables. The only place where I can fit under a table is Starbucks. Big shout out to Starbucks, because in my local Starbucks they have actual wheelchair tables. So there are no legs to get, chair legs to get in the way, so I can roll under the table and sit really comfortably and have a jolly good time there. I do kind of wish that restaurants knew more about this and maybe allocated some wheelchair accessible tables in their restaurant. One that annoys us quite a lot is we're not that wide. I often find people panicking. I know I've spoken about this before, but I often find people panicking when they see me coming, and it's like, dude, the sidewalk is like incredibly wide. You're not that big and I'm not that big. Like 3 people could walk past me right now and they like go to town, like moving themselves out the way, or I know that I'm going to be able to fit through that particular door, but they're like, oh no, let me get the key, let me open the other door so you can get through. It's like, no, it's fine, honestly, I can get through. But thanks for being helpful. Another thing that sometimes people don't realise is that a road, or a pavement, we call it here in the UK, or a sidewalk, to the untrained eye looks completely flat and lovely, but it's not. It's ever so slightly uphill, and it's ever so slightly wonky. So we will be using one arm all the way along the pavement, which is just absolutely exhausting. Thumbs up if you're with me, peeps, because it really is. Another thing that I think people should be aware of is that the slightest wrong adjustment or a wrong cushion can cause us serious injuries and pressure sores very, very quickly. I'm sure you will have seen in the news recently the Paralympian crawling across the floor in the airport security lounge because they didn't have his wheelchair on the flight. A lot of people thought that it was a publicity stunt and that it was a bit extreme. I'm going to stay impartial on this for this particular video. However, pressure sores can be caused very, very quickly. They can cause horrendous pain, they can get infected, and they can be extremely, extremely dangerous, which I think is not always spoken about. Okay, staying with that theme with sort of airports and baggage handlers, is please be careful with our wheelchairs. I have heard some horror stories of people seeing their wheelchairs being physically thrown onto aircrafts, or I've heard of people watching their wheelchairs hanging off the belt up into the airplane and then falling off onto the tarmac and being chucked into the aeroplane. Now, that's all behind the scenes, and I think the stuff that we see with like the cabin crew and the airport staff, on the whole, I know in this country and many countries that I have visited, they are absolutely fantastic. However, I really feel that behind the scenes with the dispatch team and the baggage handlers, there needs to be a lot more awareness and understanding. These wheelchairs cost tens of thousands of pounds. If they go missing, they cause us horrendous pain and they can cause us real injuries. It ruins our holiday. It's like someone just taking away your legs. It's just awful. It's a horrendous feeling if your wheelchair goes missing, and I just can't get that point across strongly enough. But I will calm down now, otherwise I'll go on forever. Those are just a few things that I wish that people knew about wheelchairs, and I know that you guys wish people knew about that as well. Do make sure that if I have missed anything out that you want to get across, that you put it in the comments section. Make sure to share this video. Hopefully we can push it out there and we can share it with the rest of the world so other people are aware of how valuable wheelchairs are, how important they are to us. Thank you so much for watching. This is actually going to be the last video of the year. I'm going to take a little break and I will be back in 2019. I just want to say a massive thank you for all your support this year. You've been absolutely amazing. It's been wonderful to get to know some of you and even bump into some of you in real life, which is just super exciting. I really hope that you and your families have a wonderful, peaceful Christmas. I will be continuing to post over on my social media, so make sure you go and say hello over there. And I look forward to seeing you in the new year. Lots of love. Mwah! Bye!